You don't like it?
Look, I've done that on purpose. As I said, F1 is not my bag. So take everything with a grain of salt what I'm about to say. But I think this film is absolutely a crowd pleaser. It is hell well shot in terms of what it's doing during the races. And it's smart enough to know that you are there for the races. Everything else is garnished to get you between the races, if I can put it that way.
Yeah, otherwise known as plot.
Yeah, although, let's get into that, but this is the most generic of plots ever.
Okay, I'll give you that. Yep. Absolutely it is.
And it has some of the most clunky writing I've seen in a long, long time. This is exposition dump central. And the film knows that there can be people like me and Wayne who are in there who don't know much about F1. And so in a completely unnatural way, the commentator's like, oh, this means that, and now this means that.
No, that was helpful.
Yeah, but no, it was helpful. But they would.
Welcome to the Countdown Podcast. We are going to review F1, the movie, for you today. My name is Wayne.
And my name is Paul. Welcome along to this brand new review. In fact, so early that it hasn't even opened in the continental North Americas as of yet.
Yes.
Did you say F1? You did.
Yeah, F1.
Yeah, this one directed by Joseph Kosinski and written by Aaron Kruger, off a story by those two. Produced by, among others, Wayne, Jerry Bruckheimer.
Of course.
Joseph Kosinski, Lewis Hamilton.
Oh, really?
And Brad Pitt.
Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, he's one of the producers on this film. I was told by someone the other night that 2 years there was film crews there at all the F1 races just getting footage around the place of various people. Which
so
they
that's
then
all real people?
Yeah, they're all the real people. And I don't follow F1. Should probably preface our review by saying
I don't know squat about stuff.
So
but
this is completely non-professional / interested F1 review from people who don't watch it. But yeah, apparently they were there all this time, and then they would use the gaps between the actual qualifying and the race itself to then have their cars going around the track and filming some of the shots from all this. So, yeah.
So, 2 years, because that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, anyway, so stars, of course, Brad Pitt, Damson Idris, Kerry Condon, Tobias Menzies, and Javier Bardem. It is, Wayne, 156 minutes long.
Yeah, it's a long film, everyone.
And it comes from Warner Brothers and Apple Pictures. So we want to thank Universal Pictures on behalf of Warner Brothers for the invitation to the advanced screening in Perth, which we got to see there for a week before it opens around much of the world. I also want to mention, by the way, the music is by Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer, everyone.
Which is important. Now, Wayne, I don't know if in your research for this one you have found out how much this movie cost to make.
No, I have not.
What do you reckon F1 cost?
160 million.
$200 million.
All right.
You know, Apple just have money to burn.
Oh, that's right. It's Apple. $12 billion. All right, fine.
All right, Wayne, what is the film about? And then I'll give us the reviews the scores from the bona fides.
So, everyone, Brad Pitt plays the Sonny Hayes, who was this hotshot Formula One driver back in the 90s. And right now, he's sort of a little bit washed up. He drives NASCAR quite successfully, but he does live in a van on the track itself, which is kind of interesting. And he is, just kind of getting by. And his old driving mate, Javier Bardem, who's playing someone else,
the owner of an F1
team. The owner of an F1 team comes to him and says, yo, I got an F1 team, but it sucks. And I'm not sure. I've got like one good driver. I don't like the driver I've got right now. Basically, we're about to get sold. We need to win a race, and I need you to win it for me.
Like the backup driver.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So, he's like, okay, back and forth. Long story short, he does join the F1 team and tries to get them to win. And of course, there's hijinks ensuing in the background.
They don't ever make a big deal of this, but this is really a
whoa, hold on.
Shut up.
Moment, because Brad Pitt's character, Sonny, must be 60 years old.
Yes.
Which instantly, when I spoke to the F1 fan that I did on Friday night, was like, do they ever make a point of that? And they were just laughing because the force and the effort, the F1 drivers are some of the most fit human beings on the earth. Mm-hmm. It would tear a 60-year-old to pieces. But anyway, that's beside the point.
So? Okay, fine. I mean, they make a point of, like, he says, oh, he's really old. He's like 80, all right? So he throws down that, yes, of course, we understand that he's old, but that's all.
Because in the film, it tells us that when he had his first shot at this, he was 28. So,
and that was in the 1990s. So, yes, he's going to be at least 60.
Around about, give or take, late 50s, early 60s.
And Brad Pitt, too, is 61.
Yeah.
So,
And carrying it, let's be honest.
Carrying it, absolutely. So, that's the film, Paul.
All right. On Rotten Tomatoes, this one has a score of 88% of 81 critics' reviews as being positive, and on Metacritic, always harsher, 70 out of 100 based on 26 critics indicating generally favourable reviews. No word from CinemaTrack, of course, because not enough people around the world have been able to see it yet to tell people what they think. But we have, and that's what we're here to do today. Wayne, without any further ado then, what did you think of F1: maybe the movie?
Yeah, this is a crowd pleaser, everyone. Okay, I was initially balking at the whatever runtime of 2.5 hours, but I was hopeful that, because we heard a lot of good buzz about this. I don't know about you, but I heard a lot of good buzz. People were talking about it, and even the review embargoes were not necessarily that stringently enforced.
Well, they opened up the day we saw it.
Yeah,
basically.
they said, here you go.
So 8 days before.
Right. So the studio likes this movie, and so do I, because this is a slick as hell movie. I was hoping that Joseph Kosinski, the Top Gun Maverick guy who put us in the cockpit of the F-18s and stuff like that, could make us feel like we were in the air, in this case on the track, and he absolutely did that. Don't you think? I mean, the camera. This guy knows how to point a camera, but also he's locking a camera onto the hub of the front of the Formula One car, and it's swiveling. Back between, so you can see the action and the driver. He does that, and I'm sitting there watching and go, "Ooh, that's beautiful." I hope he doesn't overuse it, and he didn't. I don't think he did. He used it sparingly and tastefully, and in a lot of the actual races, and I remember, I don't know shit about cars, and I don't give a rat's ass about the Formula One, but I found my fist being clenched during some of the races, and I swear to you, Paul...
Fist, he says.
Fist and, yes.
And sphincter.
And ballsack, yeah, you go with that, Ed. But I actually did feel my heart rate raising a bit in some of the track races, and again, I don't care about that shit. So, this is a wicked film that you must see on a big screen, ladies and gentlemen. If you possibly can, go see the biggest ass screen with the best ass sound that you possibly can for this film. I thought it was really, really great, and I thought the performances were fantastic. Given what they were, it gave you the right... Remember now, it's a Formula One movie. It's a racing movie. So there are some racing movies where you see a few races, and now this movie knows that you are there for the racing, and then it gives you kind of enough character development to make the races mean something. So overall... Hell yeah. Not the best thing I've ever seen, but great. What about you, Paul?
All right, well, now that the jerking off of Joseph Kosinski and Apple is done, let me give you the real response.
Because
this sort of thing ain't my bag, baby.
What? Did you not like it?
Look, I've done that on purpose. As I said, F1 is not my bag. So take everything with a grain of salt, what I'm about to say. But I think this film is absolutely a crowd pleaser. It is hell well shot in terms of what it's doing during the races, and it's smart enough to know that you are there for the races. Everything else is garnished to get you between the races, if I can put it that way.
Yeah, otherwise known as plot.
Yeah, although, let's get into that, but this is the most generic of plots ever.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Yep.
Absolutely it
and
is.
It has some of the most clunky writing I've seen in a long, long time. This is exposition dump central. And the film knows that there can be people like me and Wayne who are in there who don't know much about F1. And so in a completely unnatural way, the commentator's like, oh, this means that. And now this means that.
That was helpful.
Yeah, but no, it was helpful. But they would never speak like that at the way that they were speaking like
First of all, the first Aussie commentator was an Aussie.
That was weird.
He was no, that
and it wasn't. But he wasn't in. Was he a real commentator?
I don't know.
That's
but
what I'm
he
saying.
was contributing to the internationalness of an American.
But it wasn't
movie.
like it was at the Melbourne Grand Prix.
No, but Australians tend to turn up everywhere.
Yeah, I was. No, it was a NASCAR event. That's right.
Yeah, what's an Aussie doing at a NASCAR event?
I didn't understand. Maybe he's an ex-NASCAR driver.
Maybe he's real.
Yeah.
If anyone knows, drop it in the comments below.
Anyway, long story short, if you get past the very clunky, very exposition dumping, poorly written script, everything else about this film works. Brad Pitt is charm personified. I know he's a complete piece of shit, apparently, according to his family in the real life and whatever else. Don't care.
We don't know.
He's phenomenal in this particular...
we're judging the performance, exactly.
in this film, and he's perfectly cast. I can't think of a single other actor who could sell the confidence, the swagger, but also the moments of vulnerability that he has when he does have those moments of doubt.
Yes, he's nailing the old cool guy thing, right? Previously, he was a young cool guy, but now he's an old cool guy.
He's so cool.
He's got the old cool guy voice.
He's just following on from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where he was also charmed and just incredibly well cast in that movie as well.
Really? It's Brad Pitt. That's why, man.
So, yeah, big ticks there. I liked the young fella who's sort of offsetting him, who's played by the actor I mentioned before, Damon Damson. Sorry, Idris. What is any relation?
Wait.
No, Idris Elba. Of course not.
Are you saying his last name is Idris' first name, so they're related? No, Paul. That's not how it works.
I realised that halfway through my sentence. That can stay in. There are moments even when I'm an idiot. Just mostly overshone by this man. Yeah, he's fine in the role. He does what he needs to do. He comes across as the arrogant, cocky ass, and then sort of gradually maybe I should listen to this old fella. That works.
May I say, your point about the plot and the clunkiness and the this and that. Now, as Paul said, this is a story you've seen a million times, okay? There's the cocky young recruit, and then there's the hardened veteran professional, and then the young recruit is like, hey, I don't need this old guy, but the old guy knows some shit, and then the young person goes, oh, I see. Now, that does happen here, kind of. I think there is actually nuance and layers to this. It's not quite the same thing. There's it's not protagonist versus antagonist. It's two protagonists learning to work together. Again, you've heard of that type of plot before, but I think Joseph Kosinski's whole thing is that he takes an old concept and injects a bit of life into it or gives it some relevance which makes it better. Top Gun Maverick, same thing, right? It's basically Days of Thunder. But, well, not really. But it's like, again, you've seen this before. There was the young guy, the old guy, then he's a veteran and he's a young guy. That kind of thing. But it was really great to watch. And that is very Nolan-y in that you're taking something that is kind of not necessarily that exciting, but you're making it exciting with your execution of the material. That's why he's good, Paul. I've never seen any Joseph Kosinski stuff. What did he do? Did you know what he'd done before Maverick?
Yeah, he did Oblivion with Tom Cruise.
Oh, shit, I love that movie. Okay, this guy's great, everyone. So, absolutely, that was good. Oh, man.
Yeah. So, and then Kerry Condon is the race. What's the technical title? The technical director.
Yep.
First, I think they make the point of saying first female technical director. And
certainly the most Irish one.
Yeah, and Irish, and plays the sort of love interest for Brad Pitt's character, which sort of develops reasonably well, I thought, through the film. It doesn't overwhelm it and the like. But you're there for the racing set pieces, and as Wayne has already said, they are very impressively shot. There's that locked off camera. Yes, the camera swirling between the cars as they're moving. Like, some of the shots are so impressively cut together. It's like, ooh, how did we do that? And it looks so good. Like the money, the $200 million is there on the screen. And as Wayne said, what I 100% agree with is see this movie on the biggest screen possible. It's not going to change your life, but you're going to have a damn good time if you're at all interested in this, or you just want to be thrilled by what you're seeing on the screen.
Exactly. And can we also say that, like, the way when you're introduced to Brad Pitt, you're talking about exposition in the beginning and stuff like that, but when you're introduced to him, you see him, and you as an audience member throw in with him almost immediately, because you see he's like the old guy, he's the old professional, he doesn't do it for the money, he does it because he loves driving, and by the time you get to whatever, you're now like barracking for him, right? You're like, okay, I love him, he's the guy, let's do it, I want him to win, right? Which is all the way through the film. There's not an arc necessarily, he's that guy, but what I liked about it was that because of his years and his expertise, he knows stuff that a young buck wouldn't know, like certain little like tactics that he uses during the races. We'll get into it in spoilers, but a young guy wouldn't think to do that, but this guy's been doing it for so many years, and he knows that he needs to get up and work out in the morning. He knows he has to do his homework and learn about the car and all that sort of crap. This is something like a veteran would do, and a young person might actually just go, nah, I know. So that's why I like the character. He did actually work for everything he has, and the fact that he doesn't care about the money makes him even more attractive. So that's why he's cool.
All right, there we go. So look, Wayne obviously really loved it. I like this film too. It's definitely in my top 10 films of the year thus far.
Pretty big, everyone. Paul's a prick. So.
Not where I was expecting that to go, but sure. So we are recommending you go out and see this, and we'll give you our final scores on the other side of our spoiler thoughts, which happen once we hit this button.
You can't handle the truth.
And the truth is that this is something in this film for just about everyone.
What is it, Paul, that you thought of? Because the thing is, right, the way it's ending, we're in spoilers and stuff like that, but like...
full spoilers from here. If you don't want to know anything more about F1, you just want to go see it, then turn off now.
Yeah, back out. Come back. Here's the thing. When we're talking about the camera angles on the actual car itself and how it's camera's locked down, then you got sort of drone shots and whatever. I noticed most of the movie, I'm sitting there going, they haven't done the thing where they put the camera on the bumper of the car so you can see the road like this, because that would be the most dramatic way to do that.
AKA Wayne suggested when we shot a film 27 years ago, what we should do with a handheld camera.
That's
Just hang
right.
out the
Lean
side
out
of the
the
car and I'm like with the
rented big camera.
rented $2,000 camera.
Yeah,
I don't think so, Wayne.
Yeah, I didn't get my way then, but Joseph Kosinski got his way. And I will tell you, he saves that shot till the very final race. And when it happens, you're like, oh, because now, before you were just in the cockpit with him, but now you're like next to the road, and it makes it more exciting. I thought this is some like champagne filmmaking, my friend. It's good stuff, right? The guy knows what he's doing. So I love that about it. That was cool.
Yeah, I mean, he might also have made the second Tron film, now that I'm thinking about it.
I
Legacy.
think I gotta go back and look at this guy's stuff, see what he's done. He's awesome. Joseph Kosinski, man.
Regardless of what he has and hasn't done, what he does do here is put you as close to as you can in the driver's seat of an F1 car.
Yeah.
Like short of some kind of behind the scenes F1 sponsored series, which gives you all the pitfalls and everything else which I believe exists.
No, that's what's cool about. That's what I was referring to before. So Brad Pitt is like, okay, he thinks, I don't want to say outside the box. I hate saying that, but like he's not only a good like driver where he knows the car, he learns the car, he does all that sort of shit. He's like, I've got a tactic here. Like, we're losing the race. I'm going to peel off a part of the car by hitting part of the whatever, like something. And that's going to force the security car to come around. And it's going to slow the entire race down. Gives us a chance to kind of get us. That is some cool shit, man. That is completely nothing to do with racing.
And look, if this was even remotely realistic as a film, you would talk about that with the race director and this is what I'm going to do. And you get
But then
approval.
he's not cool, Paul. Then he's not like the
Then
guy
he's
going,
not
I'm making the film
Maverick.
on the fly.
Wait a second, there's a link here.
Exactly. Okay, so this is, look at Days of Thunder. That's Top Gun.
I don't
right?
want to watch Days of Thunder.
I know. I'm just saying.
Probably
Anyway.
watched it 30 years ago.
There's a sequel
I'll never
coming,
watch
you
it
know
again.
this, right?
Oh, fuck off.
I'm telling you. So,
Is it directed by Joseph Kosinski?
you know what? That's the only way I can see it working after this. That's really actually no. He's not going to do 2 driving movies in a row. Anyway, but that is cool. Like if you know nothing like us about F1, and then you see that this is something someone's thought about this script and gone, okay. Only someone who's like been thinking about driving for like fucking 30 years.
Well, if
would
they
even
spent 2 years going around following the F1 and shooting, so I'm sure they were talking and consulting and getting.
Yeah, but the script was already written by then, Paul.
Well, maybe not, but they
Yeah,
have rewrites on
okay.
scripts on days of shooting sometimes.
Yeah. Well, it was a good choice, is what I'm saying. And that's why it's a cool film, because you're looking at, it's just like when we look at like The Professional or something. You enjoy watching the expertise of someone who knows what they're doing.
sure.
It's really cool to watch. So that's why we dug it. I dug it.
The film, it's too long. I think we agree about that.
Yeah, it is too long.
Could easily have had 20 minutes cut out and it would have lost nothing from proceeding. So I dinged it a little for that because especially there's this sort of flat part between where this sort of big defining accident, because of course it's a race film, there's an accident of some significance that takes place in the movie.
Yep.
And then there's a lot of kind of spinning of wheels, no pun intended, before we get to the final race. And the whole setup of the film is that Ruben, so Javier Bardem's character, he's going to lose the team. The board's going to take it away from him. He's going to be ruined unless they can show some real progress, because his team hasn't finished in the top 10 of any F1 event at all. And so he's given basically Brad Pitt. So we've got 9 races left, somewhere around half the season left.
Yep.
And what we have to place, we have to do well enough to show the board I should be allowed to continue to have control of the team. I've assembled a good group of people. We just don't have the person behind. And also, as it turns out, the car isn't quite right. It's got some errors.
Yes.
Or things that need to be improved upon, which, of course, Sonny instantly can tell because he's the best.
But he said even before he went, he said that car is a shit
sorry.
box, and we all fucked off. So yes, but that's the thing though. He's like, but that's part of F1, right? The technology is basically where all the technology for your car comes from there. So
And, of course, there's some corporate greed that's involved. And
you need a corporate greed.
Yeah, the eventual bad guy is revealed to be the person you probably could have obviously seen who it was going to be, despite his innocuous kind of presentation. Which
Was
is
he South African?
No, he's an English guy.
Oh, okay.
He's actually was on Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
He was Caitlin Stark's brother.
That's right. Okay.
Tully, I think.
Tully, I think it was, yes. Okay. Yeah, but like that works though, right? Like in terms of if you're looking at a film, right? If like you might be a scriptwriter looking at a film like this going, I know where the turn's going to happen. I know where this is going to happen. I know that, but it's still great to watch.
Yeah, look, there was a couple of scenes where I'm like, all right, so the accident happens with a young fella who, doesn't listen to the advice of Sonny, goes for it, has a massive accident where I thought for a second he'd been thrown from the car as it flew through the air, which is a piece of the car falling away. And he survived, obviously, he's fine ultimately, but he's out of the race for 4 races and he's got a race with the other guy who gets like 2 shots and they don't even show anything about what he does during those other races. But they're gradually improving through that time. But it sets up this very weird kind of mum's angry now. The mum of the young guy's angry at Brad Pitt's character at Sunny, which gets resolved which should have been resolved really easily because for some reason the young guy doesn't say to her, hey, I was the one that went
He said it later on.
He said it later, but it was completely innocuously stupid.
But I understand why they...
stupid? Ridiculous.
I know, but I realized they didn't
Didn't need it. That whole thing could have been resolved really fast.
The mom's angry, man. You can see the mom's angry, but...
I understand mum being angry if she thinks he did what Sonny told him to do and that's why he had the accident.
Yes, but that's the point of the scene.
This kid is so fucking, like, is he that whipped by his mum? He can't just go, Mum, I made that choice.
No, he chose to do that himself. But what I'm saying is when the reason you don't resolve in the scene itself is that it serves a bunch of purposes. 1, the mom's angry. 2, she confronts Brad Pitt. 3, Brad Pitt is the kind of guy who sees she's upset and is not going to say, it was his son's fault.
He handled it well.
He said, okay, fine, and he backs off, right?
But we get nothing else between that scene and the scene where about the impact of that.
You don't need it
until the kid goes, "Oh, Mum, actually, it was me."
It's hanging in the air at the time when
we don't even really see the mum apologize to him. So I'm just like, what was the purpose of that?
No, the purpose of that is that the kid is a turd by not fucking owning up. 3, Brad Pitt's a great guy by not being a prick about it. 4, the mum is a mom.
I agree about the second part. We already knew the kid was a turd.
Yeah,
that'd been well established.
But when he finally comes clean with his mom, that's kind of his resurrection point. Oh, that's where you're like, oh, he's turning into a good guy. To my mind,
that whole thing could have worked better if Brad Pitt didn't dob him in and walked away. And then she walked back in the room and she goes, "You got it all wrong, Mum." We could have had all that then.
Then all the tension is gone in the same scene.
But
you needed to hang,
my
man.
point is there was no tension out of that.
Of course there was. It's a drama, slut. Oh, right. All right. You know what? Okay. Well, this is why we don't necessarily see eye to eye.
Because Wayne's a prick.
Yes.
So yeah, I didn't like that. I also didn't like the fact that suddenly out of nowhere, presumably because he had another accident and then, Ruben says to him, "You can't drive anymore, you're off the team." And then somehow he manages to finagle his way back in with whatever weird guy says, "Here you go, I sign away all rights and responsibilities. You have to pay no dollar if I die out there on the racetrack."
And then he tears up his paycheck and says, you owe me my paycheck, so I'm still employed. So
which is
that's fine.
Stupid.
Look,
because paychecks don't get deposited into bank accounts until you deposit them. There's no such thing as auto debit anymore.
At that stage, the audience is looking for a reason to get Brad Pitt back on the screen so we can look at him and see what he does.
Sure.
I'm fine with this.
I agree with that part. Fine. But then suddenly he's got vision, his blurred vision, which rears its head for 1 second in the race and does nothing. I'm like, why did we bother with that?
That's called tension, Paul.
No.
That's called false peril, okay?
Exactly, false peril.
Yes, but you don't know that when you're seeing it. You're like, ooh, here's another reason why things might fuck up. If it's all like he's really good the whole time and has no problems, then it's a problem.
If you haven't worked it out, Wayne's drank the Kool-Aid of this film.
Look, I'm just saying I know some good ass
the rest of us
writing when I see
are
it.
being realistic in our assessment of the pros and the cons.
Well, in that case, let's hear your goddamn score, Paul.
My goddamn score.
Out of 100.
Did I have this higher than 28 years later? I need to check. Because it was kind of around the same mark.
You and your bullshit. Just tell me what you feel.
No, because some of us actually back in our thinking.
Some of us are emotional accountants, ladies and gentlemen.
Some of us just fly by the seat of our cock.
That's right. It got me through high school.
Yes, I gave 72 to 20 years later. I'll give this one 74.
All right, I can live with that. It's 80. It's an 80.
You just give 80 all the time. You're just like, I don't know, it was good. 80.
8 out of 10, slut. That's it.
I'm pretty sure the last time, Ballerina, you have 82 as well.
Yeah, it's about as good as that.
In
exactly
terms of, which one would you like
they're
better?
completely different movies, but in terms of
like
my appreciation thereof, yeah, about the same.
Exactly the same.
On this occasion.
At some point at the end of the year, Wayne, you're going to have to rank them in terms of which.
All right, let's go fine. I actually think it's better than it's an 8 out of 10, but let's go with 83.
There you go.
Okay. Happy now, motherfucker. All right,
Wayne is committed. F1, better film than Ballerina. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. That's,
right,
that's your choice.
Fine.
Totally fucking wrong, but it's okay.
Suck dicks. All right.
There you go. We are obviously both at least in sync in terms of go and see this movie and enjoy the shit out of it.
Yeah.
F1, possibly the movie, is a good film.
Also, I wrote a tagline for the film, Paul.
Yeah.
I'm sure this will turn up somewhere else, but I would say it's the best pit stop you'll make this year. What do you think? Okay, I'm sure no one will use that. I'm sure someone else will grab it, but for right now, that's what I thought of. Here we go.
I'm embarrassed. But also embarrassed I didn't think of it first.
It's so bad. It's so bad. All right. Well,
How are
that's
they
our
going to
review.
get in touch with us, Wayne?
If you're watching this on Waxing and Waning, just hit me a subscribe. Or if you're listening on the podcast, Google the Countdown Podcast. You'll get all of our socials. Join up. Send us an email at thecountdownpodcast@gmail.com. Or where do the people get it on the internet? What's it called? Podbean?
Podbean. Search for our site there on Podbean where we host through there. The Facebook is going to be links in the show notes.
Podbean,
and
the Countdown.
yeah, something like that.
Links
Yes.
below. Links below.
Is it? Don't know if it is. It might be on the Wayne and Waxing and Waning channel.
I'll put links below.
All right, that is it from us today. Thank you so much for joining us for our review of F1. And we'll be back with another film in fairly short order. I think next one might be Jurassic Park. Wayne.
Okay, yeah.
Whatever that one's now called. Jurassic Dominion or something.
Something World.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Looking forward to it. As you can
kids.
tell. No, your name is?
Oh, yeah. My name is Wayne.
My name is Paul, and this has been the soundboard because it's really important that we get this in because Wayne loves it so fucking much.
I stand resolute, motherfucker.
About Joseph Kosinski films, says Wayne. We'll catch you next time. See ya.
See ya.